Hey guys, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another episode of Books and Beauty. So the reason we're doing another episode, even though I just did one, is because I just ran out of ideas of what to film. And I had this idea in my head for this one book, and I just need to create it so I can, I don't know, move on, I guess. So the book that we're going to be discussing is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, and also the second book, which I won't go into detail because obviously it's spoilers, but Muse of Nightmares. Aren't these covers just so pretty? I'll talk a little bit about the Strange the Dreamer duology, and then I will create a look based on the cover. So my idea was that I'm going to do one gold eye and one blue eye, and I wanted to use the BH Cosmetics Desert Oasis palette because look at these colors. You have the blue and then you have the gold. I just think it'll look really, really cool. And then I'm also going to be using most likely the Profusion Spectrum palette, so we can get some yellows and oranges and also blues, because I don't have palettes with those colors. I might dip into the Wet n Wild Not a Basic Peach palette for that gold or that orange. Not sure yet. I think we'll just figure it out as we go along. I might need to swatch a few things because obviously I'm very unprepared for this video. But I haven't been filming in quite a while, so I've kind of lost my groove. But maybe that's a good thing. I'm gonna stop rambling now. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. I'm going to start with the eyes and then I'll finish the face after, just in case we get any fallout. I don't want that to ruin the rest of the look. So I'm going to start off with the Makeup Revolution Eye Elements Eye Primer in the shade Core. I just want a nice, clean base on the eyelids. I'm just going to take the Real Techniques Dulux Crease Brush. I just love this brush for my eye primer, and we're just going to prime the eyelids. I'm just going to take the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Powder, and I'm just going to use this to set the eyelid. So I'm going to start with the yellow eye, I think. I think. That's not funny. I'm going to do this eye yellow and this eye blue. I'm going to start with the yellow eye. I'm also going to dip into the Jaclyn Hill palette just because it has the one shade that I really, really want to use. So we're going to use that as well. If you don't have this palette, you can just use colors that are similar. But since I have it, I am going to use it. So the first shade I'm going to dip into is Silk Cream. I'm actually just going to use this on both eyes just to get a nice transition. Hey guys, so I'm just going to switch to voiceover real quick so you can kind of get an idea for what this book / series is about and still watch me put on makeup. So we meet this boy, Laszlo Strange, who is a librarian, and he's always been obsessed with this lost city of Weep. So basically, he wants to go on a journey to find said lost city of Weep, and he gets the opportunity to do so. Next, I am going to take Creamsicle and only on this side and just pop it kind of in the transition area as well. And basically you follow him on that journey of him journeying to Weep. But then, of course, when they arrive, they're met with different mysteries and just things they didn't think about, like things that wouldn't happen. I'm actually going to switch brushes to the Morphe M573 brush, but I just fell in love with all the characters. Laini Taylor has a very poetic writing style, and I think even though it was different, I think it was very interesting to read. And just in Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares, you just fall in love with the characters more and more, and I loved the plot.
It did seem to go a little bit slower in Strange the Dreamer than in Muse of Nightmares, but I didn't mind it as much. But if you're not one for slow plots, then you might not want to pick up this book, because it's about in the last, I don't know, fourth of the book where the plot like picks up. So maybe this isn't the book for you.
And that's pretty much all I'm going to use the Jaclyn Hill palette for. Next, I'm going to actually switch brushes again. I'm going to use this really, it's like a little bit smaller of a fluffy brush, just like that. I'm going to take the shade Marigold from the Profusion palette right here. And then I'm just going to build that up kind of all over the lid.
But it is definitely a very good book. I rated it 5 stars. Both of them were 5-star reads for me. I think I enjoyed Strange the Dreamer a tad bit more than I did Muse of Nightmares. But that is all I have to say for Strange the Dreamer. I will just leave you with that and back to the tutorial.
This look will also be interesting because it's a cool tone versus a warm toned eye. So I think that contrast will be really interesting. I'm going to dip into the shade Ember from that palette and just kind of pop this on the outer edge just to deepen it up a bit. And then I'm going to go back in with some yellow. And wow, that's a look. I'm gonna take a liner brush, actually just this flat brush, and I'm gonna dip into the Not a Basic Peach palette from Wet n Wild, and I'm just gonna dip into this like plummy color right there and use it just to line the upper lash line. And I'm gonna use this color on both eyes just to keep some kind of like similarities between the two. I like this color because it's deep enough to use as a liner, but it's not like black. Next, I'm gonna go into my golds, and I found a combination that looks really good in my opinion. So I'm just gonna start off with the Not a Basic Peach gold and then just layer that. Do you see how it's like a very deep gold? Like, I didn't want it to be that deep. Actually, I'm gonna go over that with Moonscape from the BH Cosmetics palette because I want that glitter. Okay, that actually works. So I just used the gold shade from the Wet n Wild palette and Moonscape from the BH Cosmetics palette, which is just this one right here. Okay, that looks really cool. Just gonna blend that out on the top because it went a little bit high. Okay, that's better. Actually, that's really pretty. Ooh, I quite like that. I'm gonna mix the yellow and orange from the Spectrum palette. Oops. And build that up on the outer corner. Okay, that's one eye. Now onto the next eye. I'm going to start the shade Bermuda, which is just this pale blue shade right here. Oh my gosh, did you see that? That is very dusty. From what I remember from this palette, these blues are not super duper pigmented. So you have to kind of build them up for a while before you can get any like good pigment off of them. I'm gonna mix Bermuda and Nautical, which is that like deep blue, and maybe that'll help boost the pigmentation a little bit. I could try like spraying the brush, that might help a little bit. Okay, that didn't help a ton, but it did help a little bit, so I'll take it. Now I'm just gonna take Nautical and just build this up just on the eye, the eyelid that is. Again, these are not very like pigmented colors, so I'm trying to spray the brush and try and get some pigment from there, and that seems to be helping them a little bit. And I'm gonna dip back into Bermuda and just blend that line together. This is wacky, okay? Okay, now I'm gonna take the shade Hot Spring, just this really pretty bright blue color, and I am going to apply that. Oh, look at that. How pretty is that? I'm just gonna apply that to this eyeball. Ooh. I'm gonna use my left finger instead, so I don't have to do like crazy arm contortion. Whoa, oh my gosh. That actually looks kind of wacky though. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna take the shade Turquoise, which is just more of like a platinum-y blue. I'm gonna just tap over that a little bit, just to change the color a teensy bit. Oh, I forgot to add that like black. Oops. I go back in with that flat brush and that like plummy shade we used on the other eye and just line this eye. This will also just help to kind of fill things in a bit. Oh yeah, I definitely got some fallout under the eyes. Can you see that? And then lastly, I'm going to take a little pencil brush and I'm going to dip into Bliss from the Desert Oasis palette. I'm going to tap that just in the inner corner on the yellow eye. Also use that same shade on the blue eye. Oh, maybe that was a little too yellow. I'm going to take that blue from the Not a Basic Peach palette and just layer that on top of Bliss on the blue side. Okay, I'm going to clean up under the eyes. I'll be right back. For mascara, I am going to use the Essence Lash Princess mascara, and I'm going to curl my lashes and then I'll put this on and I'll be right back. And make sure to wipe off the curler in between if you're using like glitters and two different colored eyes, because then like since I just did the blue will transfer onto the yellow and we don't want that. So just make sure to wipe it off real quick. Okay, and I'm gonna apply the mascara. And I'm gonna make sure to comb through that with a spoolie just so we don't get any clumps. Those are the eyes. I'm going to do my face makeup and then I will be right back so we can finish up the lower lash line and finish the final look. And I'll have everything I use listed in the description box so you can go check that out if you want to know what I used. Okay, so I just threw on a quick base makeup. Nothing too fancy, but I will have everything again listed in the description box. For the lips, I wanted to keep them pretty neutral, but still do a little something to them, just to kind of balance out the eyes. So I used the Physicians Formula butter lipsticks. I don't know what these are called. But this is in the shade Soaking Up the Sun. I just thought it was a nice, like, pretty peachy, but not too warm color that would just kind of complement both eyes. Let's finish up the lower lash line. I'm going to use the Spectrum palette and just an angled brush. And I'm going to take Marigold. Make sure to tap off the excess because it will probably result in fallout if you don't. I'm going to dip into Creamsicle from the Jaclyn Hill palette. This is, I think, the perfect color just to use underneath the eyes. I think that's the only shade I'm going to use under the eyes because I don't want to overwhelm the eyes. And then I'm just going to switch colors, just get the yellow off. And I think I'm going to use Nautical on the bottom on this eye. I will just take a little bit of Bermuda to lighten it up a bit. I'm actually going to line the lash line just with this Wet n Wild Kohl eyeliner in the shade Calling Your Buff. I just want to keep it kind of neutral and not pink in the waterline, so I'll do that. Be right back. This is the final look. I'm actually really happy with how it turns out. I mean, it's definitely weird having two different colored eyeshadows, but I don't think it looks terrible. I mean, I definitely wouldn't wear this out in public, because probably get some pretty weird looks, you know? People would probably be like, what are you doing? So, can you see how inspired by the book this is? Huh? I think the gold is definitely way more warm toned than what's on the cover. The cover is a bit more of like a cool yellow, but oh well. Not terrible. I couldn't find this like exact shade of gold, just not in my makeup collection. But yes, this is what it looks like. Okay, so I decided to do something where I would give you guys a word of the day, or I guess of the week, because it's on Sunday and I don't upload anymore. So your word today is ostentatious. It is an adjective, and it means showy display, pretentiousness. So something like over the top. I think this look is kind of, you know, ostentatious. So that is your word of the day. Make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe down below for new videos on Sundays. And make sure you have your notifications turned on so you're notified every single time I post a video. Feel free to comment down below at any point during the video. I probably should have said that at the beginning, but if you want to like go back and rewatch it again, and just comment, that's fine with me. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Ciao, Bellas! I almost forgot my outro for a second. Man, it's been a while.